Florida, a state renowned for its sunshine and stunning beaches, is now witnessing an incredible shift. One of the state's most loyal groups of visitors, Canadians, is slowly pulling back, and this change is not just a temporary slowdown. It's a powerful, quiet, yet decisive withdrawal. Bookings are plummeting, real estate is being sold at an unprecedented rate, and for the first time in many years, these visitors are saying, "We're done." Is this just a simple financial issue, or is it a reflection of a sense of being abandoned and unwelcome? With over $6 billion once spent annually in Florida, that money is now flowing into other destinations like Portugal, Mexico, and the Caribbean. And the Florida economy is beginning to face the clear consequences. Florida, once hailed as the paradise for seasonal migrants, is now facing a major shift it couldn't have predicted. If 2025 has witnessed this decline, 2026 may be even worse. The quiet boycott of Canadian visitors, who have been loyal to the state for decades, is underway and spreading. If this story resonates with you, don't forget to like and subscribe so that this video reaches those who need to hear it. Every year, as fall begins and the leaves change color in Ontario and Quebec, thousands of Canadian retirees embark on their slow migrations south. They are not just tourists. They are seasonal migrants, some staying for a few weeks, others for half a year. They have built routines, friendships, and traditions that have lasted decades. A couple from Montreal shared, "We've spent over 25 winters there. Every December, we pack up, drive down to Florida, and reunite with old friends at the same restaurant. It's our second home." But now that ritual is slowly unraveling. More and more longtime migrants are leaving, not because they want to, but because they feel forced to do so. A woman from Vancouver shared that the atmosphere in Florida has changed. It's not just about the cost, but also about politics and the feeling of no longer being welcome. Some people have begun selling their homes in Florida, while others don't even want to return. A family from Ottawa, after 17 winters in Naples, decided to sell everything. For them, 2025 wasn't just a missed year. It was a bittersweet goodbye. This change comes at a steep price. In Florida alone, Canadians have spent over $6.6 billion annually on housing, groceries, dining, and entertainment. But now, that money is no longer flowing into Florida. Instead, it's heading to Canada, Portugal, Mexico, and the Caribbean. What was once a seasonal tradition is now slowly becoming a closed chapter, and Florida, whether it recognizes it or not, is beginning to face the consequences. The reason is not just about money or rising premiums. It's something deeper, an attitude shift. For years, Canadians were treated like family in Florida, but now that warmth has given way to mockery and disdain. Canadian leaders are ridiculed, their role diminished. Trump has once again become the focus of criticism, calling Canada a nasty and unpleasant neighbor. Governor DeSantis pays little attention to the concerns of seasonal Canadian migrants. And for many, that's the final straw. A couple from Nova Scotia said, "We've lived in Florida for many years, and now we feel like we're no longer welcome. After the cruel jokes, the insults, and the smug attitude, we had no choice but to turn our backs and leave." But we are not alone. Online communities are also filled with the same quiet frustration. It's not just about the costs. It's also about how we are perceived. It's as if we are a nuisance, not valued guests. A former visitor from Winnipeg openly shared that Florida thinks it can manage just fine without our help. Now, the parking lots are eerily empty. Restaurants are thinning out. On travel forums, real estate listings, and local business pages, the message couldn't be clearer. Canadians haven't just been pushed out, they've been pushed aside. What stands out most in this change is the striking silence. No noisy protests, no trending hashtags, no big announcements from Ottawa. It's simply a slow, unceremonious withdrawal. Booking rates are steadily declining. Flights are emptier. Florida real estate is still vacant. At first, many thought this was just a temporary adjustment after the pandemic, a tough season, but things haven't recovered. A retired couple from Quebec shared, "We don't really mind leaving. We just aren't coming back, and most of our friends feel the same." Everything is quiet, but deeply felt. This is a silent protest, not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. Exhausted from being ridiculed, from feeling like second-class guests in a place they once called their winter home. And what's notable is that this protest comes with no demands. It's simply a decision. A decision to leave and not return. "We found an apartment in Portugal, cheaper and more respectful," one Canadian shared. "No hassle, just peace." At first, Florida didn't notice, but now the change has become unmistakable. The patios are empty, bookings are slower, and the highways are quieter. What they thought was a mere lull is now beginning to feel permanent. So what's the message behind all of this? You didn't lose us because of taxes. You lost us because you stopped listening. At first, Florida ignored it, and local officials downplayed the importance of this change. Real estate agents called it a market cool-down, and Governor DeSantis barely acknowledged it, saying Florida's economy is strong enough to stand on its own. But the numbers tell a different story. We're talking about billions of dollars in lost revenue from real estate, restaurants, car rentals, entertainment, and even healthcare services. A couple from Ontario told CBC that they used to spend over $25,000 every winter on everything from local contractors to haircuts. But now, that money is going to Portugal. When you multiply the financial losses with tens of thousands of households, the damage becomes incalculable. Cities like Naples, Sarasota, and Fort Lauderdale are facing immense pressure. Off-season businesses are struggling, rental properties remain empty, and seasonal workers like cleaners, servers, and tour guides are facing reduced hours or even being laid off entirely. And here's the real irony. Some Americans are celebrating the departure of winter migrants, thinking it will reduce traffic and lower home prices. But the reality is quite the opposite. As the number of tourists drops, many small businesses can't survive. Prices aren't going down, they're going up, and some businesses have even been forced to close. Florida's winter economy cannot rely on weekend tourists. It was built on steady, reliable winter residents, many of whom were Canadians. Now, in 2025, cracks have appeared in places no one expected. A construction worker in Lee County stated, "Winter used to be the busiest season, but now we're working slower or even not completing the jobs." The issue isn't just the loss of tourists, it's the loss of residents. Seasonal Canadian migrants aren't short-term tourists. They are part-time Floridians, and their absence leaves more than empty chairs in beachside cafes. It leaves a gap in the economy that Florida never anticipated and still hasn't fully acknowledged. But Florida is not the only place feeling this loss. Across the U.S., the quiet decline of the Canadian community is reshaping both the tourism and real estate markets. In Houston, Canadian interest in real estate has dropped by 55%. Philadelphia is down 53%. Chicago has seen a 47% decrease in searches from Canadians. And these aren't just numbers. They reflect something deeper. Not just a market shift, but a change in feelings, in preferences. The issue is no longer just about real estate. It's about perception. Cities that were once prime destinations for winter tourists are now seeing vacant rental properties, fewer bookings, and emptier airports. Even Arizona, long considered a winter tourist haven, is reporting a significant drop in seasonal residents this year. In states like Nevada and New York, travel platforms are seeing a sharp decline in Canadian visitors. It's not just about bookings, but also basic searches. In some areas, Canadians aren't being replaced by other tourists. The rooms are just sitting empty. This isn't a noisy boycott, but a gradual weakening. A change that can't be ignored. A growing silence is spreading, causing restaurants, beaches, and winter towns to struggle to adapt. Meanwhile, countries like Spain, Costa Rica, and the Caribbean are welcoming more Canadians than ever before. The winter routines that were once stable in Florida are now being replaced by new destinations, where the prices are more affordable and the respect is greater. Florida may be bearing the brunt of the consequences, but the message it sends is echoing across the United States. You might have thought that we would always recover, but this time, it's different. The numbers we're seeing in 2025 aren't just a warning. They could be a preview of what's to come. This is no longer just a story about the winter housing market or real estate listings. This is a revolution in the entire landscape of tourism and migration. The travel mindset of Canadians toward the United States has been deeply affected and shows no signs of recovering. For 6 consecutive months, travel from Canada has dropped by double digits. Surveys show that over 70% of Canadians either have no plans to visit the US or have canceled their trips. This change doesn't just affect seasonal migrants. It affects family trips, road trips, vacation bookings, spontaneous getaways, and the entire cross-border movement. And this time, unlike previous slow tourist seasons that could be quickly recovered, this one feels different. Canadians aren't just resting. They're rethinking their entire relationship with the US. What was once natural, spending a winter in Florida, a cross-border shopping trip, a holiday under the sun, is now gradually being replaced by Spain, Mexico, or anywhere other than the US. And if 2025 has been like this, 2026 could be much worse. What we're witnessing now is not just a seasonal decline. It's a fundamental change in how Canadians perceive and interact with the US. Once trust is broken, that connection will never be the same. Sometimes it may never return. Florida may still have sunshine, but the warmth is slowly fading. What we're seeing from Canadians is not just a pause, it's a major shift. And unless there's a real change, this shift could become permanent. If this story resonates with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps us spread this important message. And if you've ever been a seasonal migrant or have chosen to leave, feel free to leave a comment below. Your story could be featured in our next video. Sausages, the convenient, affordable, and easy food for busy days. But are those hot sausages truly good for your health? Behind the tempting packaging and delicious taste could lie a hidden danger that you might not be aware of. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, admits that 1 in 6 Americans get sick from food every year, while the World Health Organization, WHO, warns that consuming just 50 grams of processed meat daily increases the risk of cancer by 18%. Have you ever thought that the sausage on your breakfast plate could be bringing you closer to the risk of illness? Did you know that many of the sausage brands you trust may contain chemicals banned in other countries? Or that the meat processing methods might involve unsafe conditions that could harm your health with just one consumption? More importantly, how many corporations are profiting from your trust while these products might actually be shortening your lifespan? This is a report about the truth, where hidden facts will be exposed. Let's explore 6 sausage brands that you should absolutely avoid. Because what's lurking inside could be a betrayal you never imagined. Hillshire Farm, with its cheerful red packaging and barnyard imagery, seems like a nostalgic reminder of home, bringing a sense of warmth akin to family dinners and Friday night gatherings. But behind the sweet advertisements lies a much darker reality. People often trust Hillshire Farm for its promise of authentic farm flavors in every bite of smoked sausage or kielbasa. However, the truth is far removed from what you might expect. The smoky aroma you smell is not from hardwood, but the stench of corporate scandals, profit-driven companies, and businesses willing to sacrifice consumer health to maintain their margins. It all started in 2014 when Tyson Foods, a meat industry giant, acquired Hillshire Farm for $8.5 billion. From that point, the word farm in the brand name became nothing but a joke. According to a Reuters investigation, Tyson Foods became the worst water polluter in the U.S. meat industry, discharging over 104 million pounds of toxic waste into rivers between 2010 and 2016. Hillshire Farm's production facilities were part of that mess. While advertisements promised farm-fresh flavors, the wastewater from their plants was poisoning the rivers where children once played. The idyllic farm image was swapped for the odor of toxic chemicals, tarnishing the trust families once had in this brand. Then the truth couldn't stay hidden anymore. In 2021, over 15,000 pounds of Hillshire sausages were recalled due to contamination with plastic pieces from broken machinery. While the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, claimed no injuries were reported, a woman in Alabama shared a story that made consumers rethink their choices. She had cracked a tooth on sausage pieces that were as brittle as Lego bricks. Think twice before you continue purchasing this brand. Is there really a farm-fresh flavor in every bite of Hillshire sausage? Or is it just a cover-up for the scandals and waste left behind by the company? The government's silence on these matters is truly appalling when workers face serious consequences without justice. How many cases of broken bones or asphyxiation go unreported because workers cannot afford to fight corporate giants in lengthy lawsuits? A company like FarmResh isn't just harming the community. It's setting bombs in the hands of unsuspecting consumers. What's most disturbing about Hillshire Farm's record is the issues involving children. In 2023, labor investigations revealed that contractors working for Tyson were using children, some as young as 13, to clean dangerous meat processing equipment overnight. Some of these factories supplied products to Hillshire Farms. Imagine children scrubbing conveyor belts soaked with blood and ammonia while their classmates sleep soundly, unaware of the horrors unfolding. While the Department of Labor identified the involved contractors and Tyson was heavily criticized, Hillshire still remained in the shadows. The image of the barn on the packaging still smiles, as if child labor is just another minor detail that isn't worth mentioning. If you think plastic in sausages is horrifying, wait until you uncover the system that hides the broken childhoods behind Hillshire sausages. Despite claiming no artificial flavors, the fine print reveals a much scarier truth. Hillshire sausages contain significant amounts of sodium diacetate, potassium lactate, and a range of mysterious natural flavors that make you wonder if they're salt from Mars. Each sausage contains over 12,200 milliliters of sodium, enough to clog arteries, yet it's disguised as a comforting snack. For older Americans struggling with high blood pressure or heart disease, this isn't a snack. It's a dangerous trap. The betrayal becomes even more profound when the foods you trust to comfort you might be pushing you to the brink of a stroke. So, when you toss a package of Hillshire sausages into your shopping cart and see just a few dollars on the receipt, do you truly understand what the real cost is? Think about it. Polluted rivers, cracked teeth, exploited children, and the elderly being robbed of their health so that a billion-dollar corporation can laugh all the way to the bank. This isn't a meal. It's a system that thrives on consumer trust like a parasite. But behind all of this, there are better choices ahead. Smaller brands like Bowl & Skies are taking a different route, making organic chicken sausages with natural ingredients like spinach, garlic, and red chili instead of preservatives. Local butchers are also returning to nitrate-free recipes, grinding and stuffing meat right in front of customers instead of behind closed factory doors. Choosing these products is not just about picking what goes on your dinner plate. It's about making a decision about whether you're honoring the people who made them or inadvertently hiding their struggles and pain. So, next time you see sausages with that smiling barn image on the packaging from the freezer aisle, ask yourself a sharper question than any steak knife. Do you really smell the farm, or is it just a factory pretending to be one? Johnsonville's packaging, with its bright red and white logo, seems harmless and even comforting, like an old friend waving at you from across the street. The sausages are marketed as the perfect choice for outdoor grilling, an easy, affordable meal with no worries about quality or status. This image is often associated with laughter-filled backyard gatherings, where fathers wield tongs and kids joyfully smear mustard on their fingers. However, the reality behind this image is far from simple. Johnsonville, in fact, is providing consumers with a form of poison disguised under the mask of tradition. Upon closer inspection, you'll realize that these familiar cheddar cheese sausages contain ingredients that could harm your health, such as sodium nitrite, a chemical that many countries, including Germany, Austria, and Norway, have banned in processed meats due to its connection to colon cancer. According to the World Health Organization, consuming just $50 of processed meat daily, equivalent to one sausage, can increase the risk of cancer by 18%. Johnsonville doesn't just increase that risk. They flaunt it, packing 700 milligrams of sodium into each sausage, a dangerously high level that, in theory, is like pouring antifreeze into a cup and calling it grandma's sweet tea. How can foods, traditionally linked to family memories, be the very thing threatening our health? The story gets even more complex when you consider the natural labels on Johnsonville products, which are far from accurate. In 2021, the company faced a lawsuit for labeling products all natural, while containing synthetic preservatives like BHA and propyl galat, chemicals known to cause liver and kidney damage. That lawsuit quickly faded into obscurity, but Johnsonville continues to rake in billions, while consumers unknowingly consume chemicals that European regulators would never permit. It's a shocking double standard, where the US continues to play Russian roulette with unregulated foods, while Europe locks out the potential dangers. The question is, will consumers continue to be deceived, or will they open their eyes and demand transparency and safety in the food they consume? The cruelty of Johnsonville doesn't stop at deceiving consumers. It extends to the workers who endure horrific conditions in the company's factories. In 2020, workers at the Shakopee Falls plant reported working 12-hour shifts in hazardous conditions, standing amid slippery, blood-soaked floors, breathing in ammonia fumes. Complaints from OSHA revealed that many workers were coughing up blood, fainting in extreme heat, and collapsing next to spoiled meat. Even when COVID-19 hit, Johnsonville continued operations without hesitation. Over 200 workers fell ill, and many families lost their breadwinners. These laborers, who worked tirelessly to serve the American food industry, were treated with utter disregard, as disposable as the packaging that holds their products. This raises the question, how many other workers have suffered in silence without anyone standing up for them? And then there are the pigs, the silent victims whose cries of pain go unheard, exploited merely to serve American meals. A 2018 investigation by Mercy for Animals revealed that pigs at one of Johnsonville's suppliers were beaten with whips, dragged by their legs, and left to die in trash piles. These animals became sausages for family dinners. The company's response? A brief press release, a quick severing of ties with the supplier, and then business as usual. If the cruelty disappears when the cameras stop rolling, how many more animals are suffering invisibly to feed America's demand for $1 packs of sausages? So when you pick up a Johnsonville sausage pack from the shelf, the issue isn't just about taste. It's about what values you're willing to accept. For seniors counting every penny, the temptation is real. But the real cost is far greater than what's on the grocery bill. Hospital bills, shortness of breath, and empty chairs at family dinners are what this company hides behind its smiling packaging. Consumers deserve the truth, workers deserve safe conditions, and animals deserve to be treated better than a death that resembles a scene from a horror movie. Our future shouldn't be wrapped up in chemically laden foods, but in fresh, healthy, and safe choices. Brands like Applegate Farms or even homemade turkey meatballs with simple spices prove that we don't have to sacrifice our health for a tasty meal. Sure, these options may cost a little more initially, but they are far less expensive than chemotherapy or expensive medical bills down the road. That is the harsh truth that Johnsonville hopes you'll never have to taste. Jimmy Dean, a name long associated with American breakfasts, has become a symbol of reliability and warmth. Known for his friendly voice on the radio and the smiling man in advertisements, he brings a sense of comfort, like an old friend sitting at your kitchen table, promising real breakfasts for real people. But what if the story behind him isn't as simple as it seems, and behind that friendly smile is a business empire exploiting the trust of consumers while draining their health and well-being? When you open a package of Jimmy Dean sausages, you're not just getting the flavor of a traditional breakfast. You're getting a product loaded with chemicals and lacking transparency. Products like pork sausage sandwiches, cheese biscuits, and bacon with eggs are not the healthy choices you might think. Instead, they are a mix of mechanically separated pork, pumped full of sodium nitrite, MSG, and BHA, preservatives linked to cancer, banned in places like California and many other countries. A Jimmy Dean sandwich contains nearly 900 milligrams of sodium and a large amount of saturated fat, which can clog arteries and increase the risk of heart disease. It's ironic that a breakfast seemingly filled with tradition could actually be a ticking time bomb, especially for older adults dealing with high blood pressure and frail health. Pouring salt into your coffee each morning and calling it nutrition is a heartbreaking truth about how companies like Jimmy Dean exploit consumers. And behind this Southern tradition, there's a surprising reality. The meat products from Jimmy Dean don't actually come from a family farm in Tennessee. They come from Smithfield Foods, now owned by WH Group, a multinational corporation based in China. Smithfield has been linked to numerous allegations, including environmental damage and labor abuse. In 2020, they were sued for manipulating pork prices, costing American families hundreds of millions of dollars. While you struggle to scrape together the money to buy a pack of sausages, company executives continue to profit from this price increase. They're sacrificing public health for profit without a second thought. Is this the betrayal you once trusted? This is the reality we need to face when we think about what we consume and the consequences it has. The cruelty doesn't stop with the misleading products. It extends to the workers who endure horrible conditions in factories like Smithfield's in South Dakota. During the COVID-19 pandemic, this plant became one of the deadliest hotspots in the country, with over 1,300 workers falling ill and at least 4 deaths. These weren't just anonymous numbers. They were elderly immigrants, single parents, and workers who couldn't afford to stop. They were deemed essential workers, yet treated like disposable commodities, working in a hazardous environment where safety was secondary to speed. Meanwhile, Jimmy Dean continues to promote images of happy families enjoying peaceful breakfasts, never addressing the grim reality behind those hot biscuits. Filthy conveyor belts, meat contaminated with dirt, hair, and even metal shards, allegations of unsafe working conditions, and polluted rivers flowing downstream from the plants. They sell breakfasts that evoke nostalgia for home, but they conceal the negligence and devastating consequences they leave behind. And the worst part is, consumers, especially low-income and elderly families, continue to choose these products because of the false sense of security they provide. They believe this is a part of tradition, a trustworthy breakfast. But in reality, it's an illusion, a deception we no longer question, no longer ask about what's inside. For families who are deciding between buying food or paying bills, the bitter truth is that these meals might lead to a hospital visit, not a warm moment around the dinner table. However, not every breakfast needs to come at the cost of health or conscience. You can choose Teton Waters Ranch, which offers grass-fed beef sausages free of nitrates and synthetic preservatives. Or you can prepare simple yet nutritious breakfasts like whole-grain English muffin sandwiches with ground turkey and herbs for less than $6 for 5 servings. Ultimately, breakfast shouldn't be a gamble with your health. It should provide a sense of safety and trust. Before you open that package of Jimmy Dean sausages tomorrow morning, ask yourself an important question. Are you having breakfast? Or are you swallowing the lies they've fed you all these years? Armour, a brand long associated with Vienna sausages in American households, carries with it a hidden story of deception and exploitation. The image of the hot dog on family tables no longer represents simple joy, but a stark reminder of what lies beneath. Scraps of meat, bones, marrow, and even unimaginable ingredients. The so-called meat isn't fresh cuts, but leftovers, mashed together with sodium nitrite and preservatives. Behind the brightly colored packaging, the sausages contain cancer-causing chemicals that have been banned in Europe but are sold to American consumers as just another convenient breakfast option. This isn't just harmful to consumers, it threatens their long-term health. Each Armour sausage contains over 900 milligrams of sodium, double the recommended daily intake, which makes it easy for consumers to develop heart disease, high blood pressure, and other health issues. For those with heart disease or hypertension, eating Armour sausages isn't a healthy breakfast. It's a ticking time bomb. While consumers think they are enjoying a convenient breakfast, they are actually consuming something that poses long-term health risks. The consequences aren't limited to just the consumers. The workers producing these sausages also suffer from dire working conditions. In 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Smithfield plant where Armour sausages are made became one of the deadliest hotspots in the U.S., with over 1,300 workers getting sick and at least 4 fatalities. Most of these workers were poor immigrants, forced to work in hazardous conditions filled with chemicals and toxic fumes. Despite the reports, Armour continued to ignore worker safety, offering no serious investigation or compensation. While consumers are bombarded with advertisements for a happy family breakfast, the truth behind it is a blatant deception. Armour sausages are produced in unsanitary conditions and contain harmful chemicals. Reports from consumers and health organizations show that Armour sausages not only lack proper nutrition but also harm health. Consuming these products is not only an act of ignorance, but also a way of supporting a system that exploits consumer trust. Armour isn't just selling cheap food, it's a symbol of exploitation and injustice. The popular Vienna sausages in the U.S. are the result of the exploitation of hard-working laborers and the poor living in poverty. These companies don't just undermine the health of the public, they push workers into a system where they have no voice. We can't just look at the attractive packaging and glossy ads and ignore the reality behind them. However, not all food options are like this. Alternatives such as Teton Waters Ranch's grass-fed beef sausages or homemade sausages made with fresh meat and natural spices are not only good for your health, but also for your conscience. While these options might be a little more expensive, they are a worthy investment in your long-term health and protecting the environment. Food shouldn't be a cheap commodity without real value. When you choose products that are healthy, you're not only taking care of your body, but also helping protect workers and animals from exploitation. In the end, before you continue buying Armour sausages or any harmful products from exploitative brands, ask yourself the hardest question. What are you really eating? Do you know what you're consuming? Do you truly understand that your choices can impact not only your own health, but also the lives of workers and animals? Make informed choices, because your health is your most valuable asset. Bar Foods, long known for its budget-friendly sausages, has often been portrayed as the go-to option for families looking to save on meals. Bright, welcoming packaging in yellow and red calls out from frozen aisles, promising a quick and easy meal solution for households with tight budgets. For many, Bar Foods represents a familiar comfort, affordable, accessible, and seemingly reliable. But the truth behind these sausages is far from comforting. While you might think you're saving money on a meal, Bar Foods is offering something far more dangerous, a product that could harm your long-term health. In 2016, the company had to recall over 170,000 kilti of sausages and hot dogs due to a listeria contamination, an especially deadly bacteria for vulnerable groups like the elderly, pregnant women, and those with compromised immune systems. What's more alarming is that, before the recall was issued, these tainted products had already found their way into schools, nursing homes, and low-income households across the country. But this wasn't the first time Bar Foods faced a food safety scandal. In 2010, the USDA shut down a Bar Foods sausage plant in Oklahoma for repeatedly violating hygiene standards. Inspectors discovered maggots in the drains, uncleaned machinery, and workers slipping on floors covered in blood. These conditions not only jeopardized workers' safety, but also contributed to producing unsafe food products without any proper oversight or accountability. Despite these alarming incidents, Bar Foods continued to market itself as a convenient and affordable option for families in need. The sausages, while marketed as a traditional choice, are filled with harmful additives like sodium nitrite and BHA, preservatives linked to serious health issues, including high blood pressure, heart disease, and cancer. The high sodium content in each sausage, combined with unhealthy fats, turns what seems like a simple meal into a health hazard. But the damage doesn't stop with the consumers. The workers producing these sausages are also paying a heavy price. In 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Bar Foods' parent company, Smithfield Foods, became the epicenter of one of the deadliest outbreaks in the U.S. More than 1,300 workers contracted the virus, and at least 4 died. Many of these workers, primarily low-income immigrants, were forced to work in unsafe, hazardous conditions, often with limited access to water and proper safety gear. Despite the situation being reported, the company continued to disregard worker safety, offering no substantial investigations or meaningful compensation. While consumers are fed a steady stream of advertisements for family-friendly meals, the truth is that Bar Foods is hiding a much darker story. The sausages, which are manufactured in unsanitary conditions, contain harmful chemicals that pose serious health risks. According to reports from health organizations and consumers, Bar Foods sausages do more harm than good. Consuming these products is not just a matter of poor nutrition, it's a betrayal of trust. Bar Foods isn't simply selling inexpensive food, it's a symbol of exploitation. The popular Vienna sausages found on supermarket shelves are a direct result of labor exploitation and negligence. The company is profiting from the poverty and poor health of consumers while treating workers like disposable commodities. We can't ignore the reality behind the packaging and glossy ads. Fortunately, there are alternatives. Brands like Wild Zora and Epic Provisions offer healthier sausage options without nitrates, preservatives, or harmful chemicals. While these may be more expensive, they are an investment in long-term health. Alternatively, if you want more control over what you eat, you can make your own sausages at home using fresh, natural ingredients, ensuring that you're taking care of your health without worrying about harmful chemicals or preservatives. So, the next time you're standing in front of the frozen food aisle, ask yourself, are you truly eating food, or are you swallowing the lies that these corporations are feeding you? Because the real value of food is not just the price you pay, but the care you take for your health and your family's well-being. Ecri, while known for its image as a convenient brand, hides a dark reality behind its bright, appealing packaging. Marketed as a family-friendly and accessible option, Ecri has become a staple for many Americans, particularly working-class families and retirees struggling to save money in difficult times. However, when you take a closer look at this product, you will see that the traditional values they advertise are merely a facade concealing darker aspects about quality, health, and ethics. The cruelty that Ecri truly brings isn't just in the product quality, but also in the harsh conditions that workers face at the company's factories. This was especially evident in 2021, when an investigation revealed that workers at Ecri's factories were subjected to extremely poor conditions, including long hours in 130-degree Celsius heat, no access to water, and suffocating protective gear. This is not just labor abuse. It's a blatant disregard for the safety and well-being of those working in these environments. While Ecri has a long history in the food industry, it is undeniable that there is a cost to consuming these products. The issue isn't only the harmful preservatives like sodium nitrite or potassium lactate found in Ecri's sausage products, but also the way they exploit workers and harm the impoverished labor community. These individuals, who are unable to defend themselves, continue working in these terrible conditions, and the products they make, such as Ecri sausages, become part of the suffering they endure. Additionally, Ecri continues to promote products that can actually harm the health of consumers, especially those with high blood pressure, heart disease, or even diabetes. With high sodium levels and saturated fats, Ecri's products don't just harm consumers, they contribute to a long-term chain of health problems. Yet, instead of truly helping low-income families, they take advantage of the circumstances of the poor to continue profiting. That being said, there are still other options. Brands like Peterson Farms or local butcher shops are offering products that are not only fresh but also good for your health. These products are free from preservatives or harmful additives, allowing consumers to enjoy peace of mind without worrying about the negative effects they might face in the future. If you're looking for healthier options and truly care about your health and the health of your family, investing in these choices is the right move. But what's important is that we're not just talking about changing diets. We're talking about how we evaluate the products we buy. These products don't just provide calories. They affect our health, conscience, and even our future. When facing food choices, ask yourself an important question. Are you really spending your money on products that benefit you, or are you inadvertently enriching companies that don't care about your health? Think carefully before making a purchase, and remember that not everything cheap is worth it. Make smart and responsible choices, not just for yourself, but also for the health and ethics of society. Applying for a U.S. green card can be a lengthy process that may take years, but not everyone has to go through that long journey. If you're from certain Asian countries, you may be lucky enough to have a shortcut. In this video, we will explore the 7 Asian countries with the fastest pathways to U.S. permanent residency in 2025. Let's take a closer look at these countries and the opportunities they offer for obtaining a U.S. green card. Top spot goes to the Philippines. The Philippines has long been one of the easiest Asian countries to obtain a U.S. green card, and this remains true in 2025. With a deep historical relationship and a strong diplomatic bond, the U.S. and the Philippines maintain a special connection, giving Filipino citizens a natural advantage when applying for a green card. One of the biggest reasons Filipinos can quickly obtain a green card is the long-established U.S. immigration system that prioritizes family reunification. Many Filipinos already have relatives in the U.S., and this family network plays a crucial role in driving green card applications. When a U.S. citizen petitions for a relative from the Philippines, the process often moves quickly due to the familiar legal system and the strong Filipino-American community that supports integration. So, what makes it even easier to apply for a green card from the Philippines in 2025? With President Trump's return, the Filipino community, particularly those with skilled professions and military backgrounds, has received strong support. Trump has publicly praised the contributions of Filipinos in fields such as healthcare, the military, and hospitality, increasing their chances of receiving a green card through labor visas. This simplifies the immigration process, especially for nurses, caregivers, and skilled laborers, while creating a more predictable process. The strong presence of the U.S. Embassy in Manila, along with a well-organized processing system, helps minimize delays, making the green card application process more efficient compared to many other countries. While Trump's immigration policies may change, he still supports systems that align with national interests, and Filipinos often take on high-demand jobs in the U.S., making them a highly valuable group to the administration. In 2025, for Filipino citizens, the path to obtaining a U.S. green card is not only feasible, but also the easiest and quickest in Asia. Strong relationships, high labor demand, and steadfast community support continue to keep the immigration door wide open. With the credibility, stable demand, and favorable U.S. policies, Filipinos remain at the top of the list for green card applicants in 2025, making the immigration journey smoother than ever before. Thank you for watching. Before moving on, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to receive updates on upcoming videos. Do you agree with this list of countries? Or do you think any countries were left out? Share your thoughts in the comments. We look forward to hearing from you. The second country, Mongolia. Mongolia may not be the first country you think of when it comes to applying for a U.S. green card, but in 2025, it has emerged as one of the easiest Asian countries to quickly obtain a green card. The main reason for this is the relatively low number of visa applications from Mongolia. Unlike densely populated countries like India and China, which often face long backlogs, Mongolian citizens benefit from faster processing times. With U.S. policies limiting the number of green cards available for each country, when a country submits fewer applications, the chances of winning are higher and the waiting time is shorter. Why does Mongolia have a special opportunity at this time? In 2025, the number of Mongolian citizens participating in labor visa programs like EB3 is increasing, especially in sectors like agriculture, healthcare, and services. With labor shortages in these fields in the U.S., Mongolia has quickly filled these gaps. As a result, more and more Mongolians are being sponsored and granted green cards. The U.S. Embassy in Mongolia plays a crucial role in this process. With fewer applications, the U.S. Embassy in Ulaanbaatar can process visa applications and conduct interviews more quickly. This means shorter appointment schedules, faster responses, and minimized delays. Additionally, the embassy also supports various U.S. funding programs, helping Mongolian citizens better prepare for educational and work opportunities in the U.S., building a stronger legal immigration pathway. Another path that Mongolians are effectively using is through education. Many Mongolian students study in the U.S., participate in the optional practical training, OPT program, and then transition to a work visa, making it easier for them to apply for a green card. This pathway has proven effective and is increasingly being chosen by many. With low competition, high demand for labor, and support from the U.S. Embassy, Mongolia is now becoming one of the lesser-known but highly effective routes to obtaining a green card quickly in 2025. For Mongolian citizens, the American dream is closer than ever. In a changing world, and with Trump's immigration policies focusing on skill-based immigration, Mongolia continues to hold its unique position. It is a small country making steady progress toward the American dream without facing significant barriers. Do you think Mongolia will continue to maintain this position in the future? Share your thoughts in the comments. The third country, Sri Lanka. In 2025, Sri Lanka has become one of the easiest Asian countries to obtain a U.S. green card. The main reason for this is the growing demand for nurses and healthcare workers in the U.S., and Sri Lankans are quickly filling this gap. With high-quality training programs in their home country, Sri Lankans easily meet the job requirements in the U.S., opening up a fast track to obtaining a green card. So, how does this pathway lead to a green card? After securing a job through the H-1B or EB-3 visa, many Sri Lankans are sponsored by their employers to become permanent residents. This isn't new, but it has become easier and quicker for countries like Sri Lanka, as they have fewer backlogs compared to larger countries like India or China. This lack of backlog helps speed up the approval process. Another important factor is the strong diplomatic relationship between the U.S. and Sri Lanka. The U.S. government continues to promote legal immigration programs and job development, giving Sri Lankan workers an advantage in the green card process. The U.S. is always ready to create opportunities for skilled labor, and Sri Lankans are a part of this flow. Are Sri Lankans taking full advantage of this opportunity? The answer is yes. Many are choosing the skilled worker green card route instead of family-based applications, allowing them to be processed more quickly in the current system, especially with the Trump administration's focus on high-skilled candidates and employment. Thanks to the combination of actual demand, thorough preparation, and political opportunities, Sri Lankans are in a strong position in the green card race. For Sri Lankans who want to settle in the U.S., 2025 is truly one of the best years to make their dreams come true. By meeting all job requirements and following the process, Sri Lankan applicants have the chance to obtain a green card quickly, surpassing many other countries in Asia. The fourth country, Nepal. In 2025, Nepal has emerged as one of the Asian countries with the easiest pathway to obtaining a U.S. green card. This is primarily due to Nepal still being eligible for the U.S. Diversity Visa Lottery, DV program. While many other Asian countries have been excluded from the program due to high immigration rates, Nepal continues to maintain its eligibility, offering a significant opportunity for thousands of Nepali citizens to legally settle in the U.S. So, why is Nepal still allowed to participate in the lottery? The simple answer is, the U.S. tracks the number of immigrants from each country, and Nepal has not been a major source of immigration in recent years. This allows Nepal to maintain its status within the program's limits, giving Nepali applicants a much higher chance of success compared to applicants from other countries. This is a huge advantage, making the green card process easier and quicker. In addition to the lottery route, some Nepali citizens come to the U.S. through international scholarship programs. After completing their studies in the U.S., many have the opportunity to find employment that sponsors their green card, particularly in fields with a labor shortage such as information technology and healthcare. With a high level of education and strong professional skills, Nepali applicants can join the U.S. workforce more quickly and easily. Despite concerns over new immigration policies with President Trump's return to power, programs like the Diversity Visa Lottery and employment sponsorship have remained stable and even encouraged. This offers Nepali applicants a favorable opportunity to obtain a green card more swiftly and easily compared to many other Asian countries. Nepal's success in maintaining its chance to apply for a U.S. green card is not just luck, but the result of taking advantage of the right timing and using the right legal channels. Whether through the DV lottery or high-skilled labor visas, many Nepali people have had a quick and smooth green card application process. For those who wish to build a future in the U.S., Nepal continues to be a strong gateway to the American dream in 2025. What do you think about Nepal's opportunities for obtaining a green card? Could political changes affect this opportunity? Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know what you think about this pathway. The fifth country, Vietnam. In 2025, Vietnam remains one of the easiest Asian countries to obtain a U.S. green card, especially through family reunification programs and business immigration. With a large and stable Vietnamese American community, sponsoring relatives has become easier, helping applications be processed quickly and achieving a higher approval rate. So, why do applicants from Vietnam have a quicker path to obtaining a green card? One key reason is the strong family ties between Vietnamese people and the U.S. community. Having close relatives in the U.S. allows applicants to apply for family reunification visas, which are typically processed faster and face fewer obstacles. Family-based visa applications, particularly for direct relatives, are less likely to be denied and help expedite the approval process. Another important factor is Vietnam's active participation in U.S. business and trade programs. Investors and entrepreneurs from Vietnam now have easier access to E2 and EB5 visas, facilitating the process for obtaining permanent residency. Under the new administration of President Trump, immigration policy has focused on encouraging high-skilled candidates and those applying through family-based programs, and Vietnam meets these requirements well. Moreover, the relationship between the U.S. and Vietnam is virtually tension-free, helping Vietnam avoid immigration bans or restrictions. This creates a favorable environment for green card applications, with smooth legal channels and an ever-growing immigrant community in the U.S. These factors have made Vietnam one of the easiest countries in Asia to obtain a green card in 2025. For many Vietnamese, the dream of settling in the U.S. is no longer out of reach. These opportunities are expanding, offering a clear and fast track to becoming a U.S. permanent resident. Wait, if you find this video interesting, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more updates, and click the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Now let's explore the next country. The sixth country, Thailand. In 2025, Thailand has emerged as one of the easiest Asian countries to obtain a U.S. green card, thanks to improved bilateral agreements and stable visa cooperation with the U.S. Despite the return of President Trump, Thailand has not faced any restrictions. In fact, the number of Thai citizens approved for green cards is now higher than before. So why do Thai applicants have a higher success rate? One important reason is Thailand's strong efforts to maintain border security, legal cooperation, and adherence to international regulations, which has helped build trust between the two governments. As a result, the number of applications delayed or encountering issues is very low. Many Thai applicants also apply for family reunification or fiancé-fiancée visas, which are typically processed quickly when the application is complete and the background is clear. Thai American families also benefit from this process. Another factor that cannot be overlooked is the cultural connection between the two countries. Thai immigrants tend to integrate very well into American society, especially in cities with large Southeast Asian communities. This quick integration helps make the green card process smoother and increases the chances of success. With a strong diplomatic relationship and a clear immigration pathway, Thailand has firmly established itself as one of the best countries in Asia to apply for a U.S. green card. For many, the opportunity to enter the U.S. is now more open and will continue to remain so in the future. So, what do you think? Will Thailand continue to be one of the most favorable countries to apply for a green card in the coming years? Share your thoughts in the comments. Saturday, Malaysia. In 2025, Malaysia stands out as one of the Asian countries with the fastest pathways to obtaining a U.S. green card. This is largely due to the strong and stable relationship between the United States and Malaysia in areas such as trade, education, and skilled labor. Malaysians are often considered ideal candidates due to their thorough preparation and low-risk profiles, making the approval process smooth and swift. So, what makes Malaysian applicants able to navigate the system quickly? First, many Malaysians meet the exact requirements for employment-based or family-based green cards without errors or delays. But their advantages don't stop there. With a solid educational foundation and strong English language skills, Malaysians adapt easily to Western culture, helping to minimize misunderstandings during interviews and the application review process, an issue many other applicants face. Although under President Trump's leadership, the scrutiny process became stricter in many areas, Malaysia has not been negatively affected. Instead, the country is increasingly recognized as a reliable source of skilled labor and educational talent. For Malaysians eager to start a new life in the U.S., 2025 offers a clearer and more favorable opportunity than ever to turn that dream into a reality. With these factors, Malaysians not only apply faster, but also receive approval more swiftly. If you're a Malaysian dreaming of life in the U.S., this year is the perfect time to make that happen. Before we move on to the next country, don't forget to share where you're watching from in the comments. We'd love to know. Now let's explore